A white male named Stephen Heinrich killed 23-year-old Stasy Charles in Baton Rouge this week. I'm going to show you a portion. A 28-year-old white male named Stephen Heinrich killed 23-year-old Stasy Charles in Baton Rouge this week. I'm going to show you a portion of the news report about the murder, and then I'm going to show you the bias that exists in the reporting that leads to injustice existing in our community.
2 a.m. Thursday. 23-year-old Stasy Charles is laying in the parking lot of this Old Hammond Highway apartment complex, bleeding out. Baton Rouge police say her ex-boyfriend, 28-year-old Stephen Heinrich, had stabbed her multiple times before crashing his car and setting himself on fire. Says the police didn't do much about it until they got a restraining order against him, which he was arrested for violating. However, he never served jail time.
So, according to this news report, Stasy Charles went to the police, got a restraining order. This man violated that restraining order and was still allowed to be, a part of society, roaming free. He wasn't even arrested, according to this news report. And now we have to talk about these disturbing parallels for a moment, because Stasy Charles and Lauren Smith Fields were both young black women with white male counterparts or white male companions, right? Both cases raise major concerns, not just because of the deaths, but because of who was the last person these black women were with. You see, people pretend that interracial dynamics don't matter, but they absolutely do when law enforcement already has biases built in particular against black women. You see, the police treated the white man involved like non-suspects. There was no interrogation of both white males. There was no suspicion of both white males, despite Stasy Charles' ex violating his probation. There was no thorough evidence that was ever collected of either white suspects, and there was immediate assumption of innocence of both males. Now, the families have been treated like they are overreacting. Meanwhile, the men involved weren't even questioned properly, and that shows you the biases of our American justice system and the people that engage in it and run it. Let's continue this video.
Okay. After he violated the order of protection numerous times, they gave him probation.
At some point, he came down to Louisiana and began dating Charles. Soon after that, Heinrich was arrested for allegedly beating Charles. Commissioner Keena Kimball gave him a $2,500 bond and a restraining order. This was just 1 week before the stabbing.
So how does a man that has a flipping assault, like a harassment, has probation, have warrants, were able to slip through the system, get a $2,500 bail, and was able to go back to the same young lady that he harassed and kill her?
The WB.
Both families, guys, are begging for answers. There has been no urgency, no communication, no transparency, no pressure from the police departments. And if it wasn't due to public outrage, I fear that they wouldn't get any justice at all. That just like many black women, they will be silenced. Right? Both cases suffer from awful, horrible police work. And a few years ago, I actually reached out to Bridgeport, Connecticut police officers to speak about Lauren Smith Fields' case, because it was alleged that in Lauren's situation, the scene was not preserved. Police did not take the man's phone. The police did not question him nor test him. They did not bag the evidence because allegedly the brothers came to the scene and found used condoms, and the family was told to stop interfering, despite, as I just said, the brothers did an interview saying how they got to the scene and found even more evidence. In Stasy Charles' situation, the police had contradictory information, and the lack of investigative clarity made it hard for the public to genuinely support what the police was saying about Stasy Charles' situation. And there was no visible urgency in treating her death like it was something like she was a victim. See, these are not small mistakes by the police department. These are actually red flags, And it shows that Black women are still not taken seriously, even while they're being deleted. The media completely ignored both of these situations and Lawrence Smith Fields and Stacey Charles until people like Senator Gary Chambers, who video we are reacting to now, until people like him spoke up. Because Black women, if you guys don't know this, Black women historically have received less media coverage. Both families had to go to social media, Instagram, YouTube, et cetera, TikTok, just to get people to talk about these cases. We began to see activists talk about these cases. Somebody like Tamika Mari, she would be somebody who would speak about this. And only major city, like small little, like this news story, they covered it. But why is this not on CNN? Why is this not being covered on MSNBC? See, when Black women go missing or end up dead, they don't get the national attention that Black women deserve, because in my opinion, I'm gonna put this on Black men, we don't make enough noise. And that's why I'm genuinely excited to see Gary Chambers speak out about this. He's actually one of my favorite people in politics, because growing up in Detroit, he reminded me of just somebody who would grow up how I grew up. He speaks very genuinely. We can speak properly and educated without letting go to parts of ourselves that make us ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? Speaking of Gary Chambers, let's go back to his video.
The investigative unit has learned that at this hearing, the state did not have his complete criminal history, but did tell Commissioner Kimball that he had been arrested for violating a protective order in the past year.
Bias is baked into how we tell a story. The reporter here shows you the court, the person in the court who is responsible for setting the bond. The reporter says the state when she talks about the district attorney's office. Our district attorney here in Baton Rouge is Hilla Moore, a white man. The ADA who went to court that day was Steve Danielson, a white man, who did not request a 313 hearing, which would have given a 72-hour hold, did not request a higher bond, and did not request the ankle monitor. All of these things would have given the opportunity for the court to grant these things for the district attorney's office, but they never asked for these things. The question is why? And if the ADAs that show up for Hilla Moore don't ask these questions, the court granted what the district attorney asked for. Why don't reporters show the ADAs and refer to them by name instead of the state?